Here's my audience and my 2 virtual members. My bad habits are not my title. My strengths and my talent are my title. This is a quote from the lead vocalist of Alice in Chains, Layne Staley. Today, I will be telling you all a bit about that band. First, the founding of Alice in Chains and their roots in the music scene, then their rise to popularity and fame, and finally, where they are now and the mark they've made on the music industry. Alice in Chains was a part of the Seattle grunge movement in the 90s. Founded in 1987, they helped to form the beginnings of this industry-changing movement. Alongside bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and the Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains created a grunge rock sound completely unique to them. While the other bands of this time helped them to gain popularity by establishing rock as a more mainstream form of music, Staley's vocals, combined with the deep guitar and the signature harmonies, solidified this band as a true Seattle grunge legend. This is not to say the band didn't go through their fair share of changes before becoming who we know them as today. Vocalist Layne Staley actually began his career in a glam rock band called Sleaze, and went through many eras of his musical career before finally establishing Alice in Chains. This also included multiple band members and a semi-notable name change from Alice ''N Chains to Alice in Chains, as we know them as today. Now that we have a bit of background established, let's dive into the band's popularity-driven years and the effects this had not only on the band members, but on music as a whole. The band's first big commercial success came in 1990 with their song Man in the Box. This song, off of their first album, Facelift, was picked up by MTV and became a rock radio hit at the time. Man in the Box is still their most played song on Spotify, a company that didn't even exist at the time, with more than 670 million streams and a triple platinum certification. This is in comparison to the less than 40,000 copies that were sold in the first 6 months after its release. MTV adding Man in the Box to the regular rotation is one of the main factors in why this song and the band as a whole were ever able to take off in the first place. Almost a year after the release of Facelift in the summer of 1991, the album peaked at number 42 on the Billboard 200. This made Alice in Chains the first band of the grunge movement to break the top 50 on the Billboard 200, and with this, the culture around rock and alternative music began rapidly shifting. The band received their first gold certification on September 11, 1991, and one of the most famous bands at the time, Nirvana, followed suit quickly after on November 27th of that same year. This all began what proved to be an industry-changing run for the formerly underground band. In the following year, the band released their EP entitled Sap and their second album, Dirt. This continued them on their trajectory up, earned them an opening spot on one of Ozzy Osbourne's tours, and a 5-time triple platinum certification. Following the world tour for this album, the band returned to the studio for only 1 week and came out the other side with their second EP, Jar of Flies, an almost entirely acoustic album that was never made for anyone outside of the band to hear, which ultimately topped the charts at number 1 for the first time in their career. After the success of the world tour, the following album, and the general fame that came with being a 90s rock star, we started to see the cracks in the armor. Staley, the lead vocalist, ended up in rehab shortly after the release of Jar of Flies. They were slotted to play with big names such as Metallica and had even secured a spot at Woodstock '94. However, they were forced to drop out only a day before they were set to begin due to Staley's relapse. The band broke up for about 6 months following this. During this time, they all pursued different side projects, with the most notable being Staley's vocals for the one and only album released by the rock supergroup Mad Season. Once the band resurfaced, they played a number of MTV and late-night specials, released another album, and did many acoustic sets. While these were widely well-received, they were already taking steps out of the spotlight by the mid-90s. 1997 marked Staley's final onstage appearance. Shortly after this, he was found unresponsive, and while he made a full recovery from this particular overdose, he never truly put himself back in the spotlight. Then, tragically, in 2002, about 5 years after this final show, Staley lethally overdosed. This did not, however, mark the end for the rest of the band members or Alice in Chains itself. After pursuing side projects for a number of years, a new lead vocalist, William Duvall, was brought on with the existing 3 members in 2006. The band has spoken out many times to assure fans that Duvall is not simply a stand-in for Staley, and that he has his own legacy and sound to bring to this legendary band. They have since released 3 new albums, and by all appearances are going strong. Seattle has even gone on to declare August 22nd as Layne Staley Day. All in all, the band created not only a vast discography, but changed the music scene as a whole. They helped pave the way for many smaller artists, and even now, almost 40 years on, are still finding ways to create grunge and alternative music relevant to today. Now that you all know a bit about this band, including their founding, the moments that truly rose them to fame, and finally, the legacy they left behind, I hope you can all see the influence that just one band had over the entire industry, and maybe even find traces of this influence in today's rock bands. Thank you.